guys, this is Jessica from the Retro Farmhouse. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a collaboration with ARTEZA. They were kind enough to send me two of their paint products. One is their current 20 premium paints that they have in their acrylic paint line, and the other one is their new fabric paint. So I was really excited to get a hold of these, to try these on some of my DIY projects that I'm going to be doing today. Also, we're doing a giveaway with ARTEZA with one of their paint sets. So all of the requirements for how to enter that giveaway will be in the description box below, but it's really simple. All you have to do is go to the ARTEZA YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe to their channel, make sure you go on their last video and like that, as well as comment on that, and also leave a comment on my video below, as well as subscribing to my channel. And in my comment, let me know where you're from, maybe like what area, state, or country. And a winner will be chosen randomly in about 2 weeks' time, and I'll go ahead and contact you through YouTube to let you know. Also though, I wanted to share with you, they have given me a coupon code for 10% off of your purchase, and I will link that below as well so that you guys can get some extra savings. So without further ado, let's get into doing today's project. For our first project, I wanted to make one of those vintage type looking shelves, or maybe one that you created with some architectural salvage. So I have these boards. They are 3.5 inch wide boards, and I ended up cutting those down, one of them to 40 inches long and the other one to 34 inches long. And then I had these 4 pieces left over, and I cut each one of those down to 3 inches wide by 4 inches tall. And so next I wanted to find the center of my 34 inch board so I could start my pattern here that I'm going to cut out. So I just kind of did a middle line and then did a center line by just measuring that. And then next I'm just taking anything round. I'm just using this paint can, and I'm putting that on the center of my board, and I'm starting there with my first draw. And then from there, I just kind of created the pattern, continued it out on both sides. And you can really use anything round here to kind of make this. I'm making kind of a little swag pattern that I'm going to be cutting out with my scroll saw. Next, I wanted to take my 4 little pieces of wood that I had here. I'm just spreading some wood glue over both of these and just clamping these down and letting these dry overnight because I wanted this to create one solid block. So you should end up having 2 of these blocks that you have clamped together. As you can see here how I've assembled this, I've put my 2 block pieces on the outside and my little swag pattern on the inside. And next I'm just going to take some wood glue, and I've applied that to each of my pieces here. And I'm using my new Ryobi brad nailer. I love this thing. It's so easy to use. It is a little bit heavier, but it's definitely a great product. Next, I'm going to use my new ARTEZA Premium Craft Paints. They came out with some more colors, and I'm just going to create basically a stain with my first color. As you can see here, it comes with so many colors, and the fun thing is that you can combine a lot of things together to create different colors as well. So here I'm just creating some stain that I'm using with my brown paint, and I just did some basically like maybe 2 parts water and 1 part paint, or however you want to do it. And I'm just applying this on with my chip brush. Basically, I want to create kind of a layered look, something that's been painted several times, and I thought maybe to have a little bit of this brown that shows through, because I'm going to end up distressing this after I'm done painting a couple layers on it. Okay, so this color is really, really bright, and you might think I'm crazy, but there are some vintage type pieces, or maybe back in the day, I don't know if any of you recall or remember that there was always this bright green that was painted in a lot of houses or on a lot of things. So I just thought this might make a really cool undertone. So I'm just painting this with this first. And then I'm taking two other colors here that created more of like a grayish blue or like a dark, like a lightish blue that I'm just applying over top of this. Next, I used a combination of fine grit sandpaper and medium grit sandpaper to just distress the edges and to kind of bring out some of the bottom. Now, I also took a wet rag and just wet distress this a little bit just to kind of pull off more of that paint, just to make it look a little bit more older. And in some places that I did this, it looked good, and then other places it kind of went more down to that pine wood. And that's okay. Basically what I did is I had some leftover brown parts of that water stain that I had, and I just basically like rubbed this all over to kind of darken that a little bit more, but it also gave this kind of more of a older aged look a little bit on the edges, kind of like if you're using some furniture wax. So I liked that you could do a lot of different things with this product. Lastly, I added some hangers to both sides of my shelf so that I could hang it easily on my wall. For my next project, I'm just using some scrap wood that I had. This was already stained, and I wanted to create some spring type decor. So I'm just using this pattern I got on Etsy. I'll link that below where you can get that, and I've just put this on my silhouette machine, and I'm going to basically create a stencil and apply this on with some of the ARTEZA paints that I have. So here I'm using some of their pink. I think I probably ended up using some of the white and their other pink just to kind of dull this down a little bit more to like a baby pink. And I'm just using my stencil brush to apply this all over. And I wanted to do one more, and I'm using this stencil here instead of a silhouette stencil, just to show you that you can do this with different types of stencils. And I'll also link that below where I got this stencil if you're interested. And I'm just applying this on with some lighter green. Again, I kind of muted this down with the white and the green that they have in this pack. For my next project, I wanted to do the same thing with the stencils, but this time I wanted to make some pillows for my living room. I'm just using some drop cloth fabric, and I did bleach this beforehand. There's lots of tutorials out there of how to bleach this. If you're interested, I can definitely do another video on that. But basically for my measurements, I'm doing this for an 18-inch pillow. So I'm going to measure 21 inches by 21 inches for my first square. And then you will have two separate pieces that you're going to do 21 inches by 15 inches. Now you'll probably see here I added a little bit extra onto the other one by adding 22 inches, but that's just because some of my fabric wasn't exactly straight. If you have one of those cutting boards that you use for fabric with a cutting roller, that tends to help you to get a lot more straighter edges. But I knew I had a little bit extra here that I wanted to kind of straighten out, so I wanted to just do that with my scissors. You don't necessarily have to have all that fancy tools to be able to do this project. So again, you're gonna have one square that is 21 inches by 21 inches, and then two smaller squares that are 21 inches by 15 inches. And basically this is gonna create an envelope pillow so that you don't have to deal with any kind of zippers or anything like that, and you can just already put that around a pillow that maybe you already have, or if you're making something like that, it's easy to change out with the seasons. Next, I'm going to take it over to my serger machine and take my 21 by 15 inch pieces, and I'm just going to serge down one of the long sides of each of those. And this is basically going to get rid of my raw edges so that it doesn't fray. After that, I take it over to my regular sewing machine, and I'm going to fold it over about 1/4 of an inch, and I'm just going to do a straight stitch down through there, and that kind of makes it a nice, better finished edge. To assemble my pieces, I'm just going to do the right sides together, which means your fabric that you want to show is going to be on the inside for now. And so I'm going to take my edges that I just folded down, those are going to be pointed towards the center, and I'm going to line this up as best I can. So I'm going to put one edge down, and then your other 21 by 15 inch piece, you're going to make sure that the folded edge is again to the center, and you're going to overlap that over the other one. Next, I like to place some pins while I'm going to be sewing this, just so that it kind of holds everything in place. And if you're a beginner sewer, ideally, I believe you usually like to put the head of the pin facing the outside. That way it makes it easier to pull it out as you're sewing. Next, I'm going to go to my regular sewing machine, and I'm just going to do a straight stitch down all sides of my pillow. After that, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut the corners off of all of my corners, being very careful not to cut through my stitch here. Basically what this is going to do is it's going to take away that bulky part. That way when you flip this inside out after it's finished, you'll have some nice cleaner corners. And for my final step, I'm going to take this back over to my serger machine, and I'm going to serge those raw edges. That way it doesn't have any fraying on the inside. Now, if you don't have a serger machine, you can just use a regular sewing machine and just do a zigzag stitch on the outside. That basically does the same principle. Next, I'm going to use these ARTEZA fabric paints. They sent me this pack as well, and it comes in 24 different colors. And again, the other thing that I love about this is besides using the colors that they give you, you can mix these together and create different custom colors. So I'm starting here with this kind of this aqua greenish color, and I'm just going to use my stencil that I used before and stencil a pattern in the center of my pillow cover. And I'm using this pink color here. I'll put a picture of the colors that I combined to make this if you're kind of interested. But again, this has so many endless possibilities of the different colors that you can combine to make for your projects. I decided to do another one of my little mason jar with the flowers. I just love this little pattern, and so I did this one on my silhouette machine, and I'm going to put this in the center of my second pillow cover. And I just combined the purple that was in this pack with some white to create this lavender color. And here's how today's projects turned out. I filmed most of this outside just because it was so nice out today, and I just honestly love how these pillows look outside. You probably could use them under a little porch or a sitting area, but I'm definitely going to be using them in my living room just to add a little bit of spring to my living room area. I just love the simplicity of these botanical wooden plaques. They were so easy to make, and I just love being able to do this, especially since we can't go purchase anything outside right now. There's lots of things that you can reuse in your home to make these. And my little vintage shelf, this is definitely a little favorite. I've seen a lot of these like on Pinterest, people taking the architectural salvage and just kind of remaking it. I almost was going to paint this white, but I'm kind of glad I went with different colors, and it just adds a little bit of pop of something up on my wall. Thank you guys again so much for coming along and watching today's video. Don't forget to check out the description box below of how you can do your entry for the giveaway, and also that discount code will be available, and I'll put that as well in the box. And just thank you guys so much again for coming along on this journey with me today. I hope you guys are doing okay with everything going on in our world, and I hope this gave you a little bit of inspiration. And don't forget to join us again for next DIY. Have a great weekend, guys. Everybody's a chatty Cathy around here. I know. You're a chatty Cathy, huh?